So we're back here talking about property taxes. And I at the Duncan Duo, when we aren't on air, make sure to follow us on all of our socials. If you want to get updates on Tampa Bay real estate, the real estate market in Florida, you want to see some cool listings, learn more about our business, or maybe you're an agent thinking about a change and you want to go with a company that is one of the first 3 companies in Tampa Bay to be rolling out some of the AI tools that we're rolling out, where AI is actively calling and texting our leads and our clients. So one of the first 3 teams in the country to have that opportunity. So super excited about that. And it's already generating business and leads for our agents. We were talking about property taxes, Josh, and I know the answer to this, but I want the listeners to hear it. When a customer is looking to buy a house, are they paying more attention to the payment or are they paying more attention to the price?
The payment.
The payment.
It's always the payment.
Yeah. And unless they're buying cash and super wealthy,
Right.
it's the payment, right? And so the one part of the payment they can control, the principal and interest. They can do math and know what that's going to be pretty much every time. The 2 that they don't completely control are taxes and insurance. And we know over the last few years, insurance has probably been the biggest complaint. Insurance skyrocketed. My insurance is too high. My insurance is this. My insurance is that. However, property taxes for most people are substantially higher than the insurance.
Insurance rates down. Yeah.
And granted, you mentioned this in our break, there is a lot of discussion about many of the insurance carriers we're seeing some relief. We had a clean hurricane season last year, and we're seeing some reduction in insurance rates, and we hope we have another clean one this year. And if so, we probably see a continuance of that.
Yep.
But what kind of impact do you think it has on the average consumer if they're looking at their payment and over a 1 or 2 or maybe 3-year period, depending on how high the price is, they get their property tax cut by 80 to 90% or completely abolished? What kind of impact does that have on people's affordability and their desire to buy?
That's a massive. I mean, I would say the average person's monthly tax is right now at $600 a month easily. I would say the average in Monroe County.
Yeah.
And it continues to rise up with new construction, CDD costs. That'd be huge. That's groceries, that's payment, that's more gas. I mean, it digs into people. Unfortunately, we see it with the short sales that are popping up with people who bought in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They bought into the communities, they're paying with their CDDs and everything else over $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 on a $400,000 to $500,000 house.
And now they can't make the payment, and property taxes are a big culprit of why they can't make the payment.
Correct.
If those property taxes weren't there, could it keep more people in homes?
People would be in homes. Yeah.
Yep. And then could it also prompt people that have been sitting on their home to now buy another one?
The next one without having to fear of that, for sure.
I did the math on this too, and I was surprised at, where interest rates are. Even right now, look, they're higher right now because the Iran thing and treasury yields have bumped up. But even with it where they are right now, if you eliminate property taxes from the payment, we're back to COVID era interest rate payments.
Yeah.
To where payments were back then, right? And if people were buying based on the payment, I think you get a few things. One, you get more buyers coming off the fence.
Right.
You get more buyers able to buy, and you get a lot more sellers that are sitting on homes because they have a 3.5% interest rate selling.
Yep.
Because now they can move up. And that property tax reduction protects their payment a little bit more, and they can always lower the rate. It's definitely an incentive that I think fuels the growth of our real estate market. And I think in addition to that, because of how I've heard it being structured, I think most of the municipalities, I don't believe it'll cause some massive drop in services. Of course, all the politicians are going to come out and say, "Oh, please don't cut. We need this. We need that." Meanwhile,
don't give us a budget.
Right. Meanwhile, they're spending money on some of the dumbest things you could possibly imagine. Of course, they want the money.
Right.
But the reality is I believe because they're going to scale it, it's going to be a certain price point each year that gets more exemptions over like a 10-year period where like by the 10-year period, then the guy that owns the $100 million house sees his benefit, right? But I believe it'll promote and improve our real estate market. But I also think that because of the way that they're going to structure it, it'll give the cities and counties time to assess, do they do a tourism or sales tax? Or do they need it? Or can they cut, can we doge this thing and cut some stuff and cut some of our expense? There's a lot of waste. And on the last part of that, can our state, who has a huge surplus, share some of that money back to the local governments and municipalities? And DeSantis has already said that he would support that. It may happen after he's gone, but nonetheless, there's a path towards that. So no question, and I think you'd agree, a reduction or a massive abolishment of property taxes would be very optimistic for our real estate.
It would be very optimistic. It'd also help our new buyers that are out there. There's so many people. I think it's the record number of buyers or first-time home buyers are not buying right now, and they're getting older and up in age.
Yeah,
like, this would be a huge relief for Florida, for our local market. It would be massive. And it would inspire the market, get people in, and then of course more people come in. That there's more jobs going to be made too.
Correct.
Of course.
So let's just think about it this way: the state we also have documentary stamp tax.
Yep.
More transactions helps maybe prop up the doc stamp taxes that offset some of the loss in property taxes. With more transactions, and then secondarily, you say, oh, more development, but if there's more people here, then that's more buyers and more sellers that are paying property tax. Even if they have to create the inventory, new construction brings tax dollars to a community that maybe don't happen without some of these changes to move people here. Because we've started to turn the corner again on population growth, but there's been the last couple of years we've seen a population almost decline. We're getting that population growth curve has slowed a little bit, and we need the population growth to build more houses to improve the infrastructure, especially if we are going to give some of that money back to owners. That, or there's some sort of an adjustment in the property taxes that landlords, investors, larger landlords, commercial type stuff. So nonetheless, really optimistic stuff for what I think is coming for Tampa Bay real estate.